Good morning, Flosstube. Welcome to Homesteading on the Homefront. My name is Lynette. It is Thursday, December 28th, 2023, and I wanted to get at least one, possibly two more videos in before the end of the year. So, new filming spot. Welcome to my grandmother's kitchen at Armstrong Acres Farm. Hubby is working from home. The kids are home right now on Christmas break. So I decided this was going to be my new filming spot. Quiet, with the exception of the heat that might kick on. And hopefully having a filming spot will encourage me to stay regular with my updates. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. We certainly enjoyed some quiet time. We had a great day yesterday with the family. We went to the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. If any of you are familiar with it, it's a great place for readers. Highly recommend. All right, let's get into it because I have a ton of stuff to show you today. The first thing, I've been holding on to this since the farm, which was the first, maybe second weekend in November. This was what I got in the Smalls Exchange, and I keep forgetting to show it to you all. So this is a Brenda Gervais design. It was stitched and finished by Karen Dennis, and I'm so excited to have this. Fits in perfectly with my decor. And I've mentioned in videos past that I met a lady, I couldn't remember who it was, who always starts an ornament at every retreat she goes to, so she has a memory of that retreat. And I don't do the same, but I do try when possible to get Christmas, to choose Christmas designs in a Smalls Exchange so that maybe I too can have an ornament from every retreat. And that was Karen's idea. So now I know who to attribute that wonderful idea to. So Karen, thank you so much. This is fantastic, and I will think of you always. Okay, so I have some FFOs to show you of my own stitching. I have been busy stitching on these, and I think I've shown them to you because I think I've told my children to look away, but they've been gifted, and so now everyone can see them. This is a Yukon design. I'm forgetting who the designers are for these on Etsy, but go to my Instagram and everything is linked there. This originally was a Buffalo Bills ornament. I changed the red to gray and the hat, and I changed the Buffalo Bill ornament or logo here for Connecticut. And so now my eldest has Yukon gnome. I just threw on a piece of wool on the back. I love how he came out. I also love how this one came out. This is my ornament from the same designer on Etsy. Same thing, threw some wool on the back. This is a reminder of the trip that my mother and I took this summer to Sweden. It's called Norwegian gnome, I think, but I think how you say Merry Christmas in Sweden and Norwegian must be the same because it's also God Jul in Swedish. I love him. And then for little one's Christmas ornament, she wants to major in chemistry. I will say this. I don't know if I've told the story before because I don't know if you've seen this one. She wants to major in chemistry. So I took a freebie from Hands On Design and I changed it to say Girls in STEM because that's what she called the group chat that she had with all of the girls in her AP chemistry class. And so this is not at all how I envisioned this ornament coming out. This actually, I don't know if you can see it, but it has something underneath the stitching. I forget what it says, but I just basically glued the stitching onto it. You can, if you look close, you can see that thing between the rickrack, but on the tree and far away, nobody cares. So this is her Girls in STEM. Maroon and gold are her high school colors. So I wanted her to always have a memento of the fun she had in AP chemistry in high school. All right. Again, that was hands-on design. The others were from Etsy. This design is my own design. I designed it to coordinate with this one. So it is a quilt square with bees. And so this one I designed in honor of my friend Donna Ray at Flannel Jammy's Farm. I started it in July at Stitch New Jersey Retreat because she was supposed to be there but was unable to make it. And so I wanted to do something to let her know I was thinking of her. So every time I stitched on this, I got to think of Donna Ray. I took it with me, put a couple stitches in at Henry David Thoreau's cabin at Walden Pond because I knew she would love that. And so this one is done. I also finished this one that I had designed. I had done the quilt. I needed to do the green and the white border. And so this one is done. So now I think I am done with all of the quilt squares that I designed to go with this series. And I'll talk more about this series in my plans video, but I think I'm done with stitching the quilts. All right. Those are FOs, not FFOs. One more FFO to show you. This Eliza Brett's pattern I found in a bin that my mother had dropped off at my house as she was cleaning out the basement. So it was from my college years. So 1994, 95 at the latest. I forget when. Oh, it's copyright 1992. So that makes sense. I had found this and thought it looked really similar in color to the Sally Spencer sampler that I had stitched up. And so I decided I was going to stitch this. And I started this in April of 2021 at a small retreat in Connecticut that I planned. And it was hosted at a Salvation Army camp. And one day prior to Christmas, it was either do housework or procrastinate. And I decided to procrastinate, but be productive at the same time. So I laced her up and got her all done. I made some changes. Obviously, I put my name at the bottom instead of Eliza Brett's. I added a Bible verse up here. But she is done. I just need to put the hanger on her and she will be ready to be displayed on my wall and entered into the fair this summer. Usually the week before the fair, I'm making a mad dash to finish everything and get the hangers on, but I'm one step ahead this year. Go me. All right, so I think those are all of the FFOs that I have to show you since my last video, which was December 1st. Okay, now I have a lot of FOs. So let me tell you what my plan was for the month of December. I wanted to finish up the ornaments, obviously, get them out of the way, which I did, thank goodness. I wanted to stitch on an old chart. I will show it to you. I don't think I've showed it on Flosstube yet. Certainly been shown on Instagram, but not Flosstube. So it is from an old, what is this? Better Homes and Gardens. You know, maybe I did show it. I think I did show it after all. So this is what he looked like. I decided I was not about to stitch all of the border. No way, no how. The chart is awful. So in his face, there were symbols that didn't match the color of the background they were printed in. It's a color chart. In the pine needles up here were in 2 colors, and I know I stitched them correctly according to the chart, but they were reversed because in the let me show you here if I can find it. Where'd it go? So you can see how the dark and then there's some light, they were switched. So in my finished product, it doesn't look quite the same. I realized it halfway through and I didn't bother changing it because why bother? So Father Christmas, I got done. I stitched on him. I started him after Thanksgiving and then stitched on him pretty exclusively for the month of December. I love how he came out. I stitched him 1 strand on 18 count Aida, and he doesn't look as dark as the model. I don't care. I hate 2 strands of floss, and it was just fine by me. So he's done, and I get to finish him. I'll show you his face up close. And then the popcorn. Oh my gosh, you guys. French knots. There were French knots and the popcorn, French knots all in here. There were supposed to be French knots in the dark area here. And I was done with French knots and I said, it's not going to happen. They are awful, so I'm not showing you the French knots up close. But from far away, it does look like a strand of popcorn. So all is well. I do love, I love how the detail came out in the basket and the squirrel. So I'm hoping to FFO him. I know what I'm going to do with him. I have all the supplies I need. It's just a matter of doing it so that he can get packed away with all of this year's Santas and be on display next year. So that was Father Christmas. These 2 ornaments I actually had finished before my last Flosstube and I forgot to show them to you. So these ornaments right here were stitched by my husband's grandmother. One was upside down. Stitched by my husband's grandmother. Now, I didn't realize it until I started stitching my own, but this flower right here is supposed to be over here. You can see where she stitched the blue. Totally forgot to stitch it before she finished it. But you know what? She died in, it was before 2008, 2006 maybe. She finished it in 1987. It's been with us since she passed away, and I never noticed that until I went to stitch the ornament myself. So don't, like she might have been upset if she knew it. We never noticed. So if that happens to you and you forget to FFO or forget to stitch something before you FFO it, don't worry about it because no one's going to know. All right, so these are the ones that I stitched. And actually, let me show you side by side. So I actually think they came out remarkably similar, despite the fact that I have no idea what she actually stitched hers on. Her skin is yellow, and I noticed that, so I'm wondering if she just substituted out a different color. But other than that, look how similar they look color-wise. And then this one down here, same thing, very similar color-wise. Again, yellow skin here, my skin was not so yellow. So I think she just chose a different color. So the plan with these is to finish them similarly. She used, I don't know how she made that or what she used for the trim, but I probably will do a different trim. But the goal is each kid can have one ornament stitched by their great-grandmother and one ornament stitched by their mother. Now, there are other ornaments, and I will show you, because these charts are handwritten 80s little. Nobody is going to be able to stitch them from what I'm showing on the video, I promise. So there are lots of other ornaments in the series. Going online, I was able to see what those ornaments actually look like. They weren't my favorite. These two were the best, in my opinion, and Grandma Leper must have thought so too, because those were the only two that she stitched. So originally I thought I was going to do the whole series. I'm done with that series. So those were, like I said, those were done actually in November before my last Flosstube, but I forgot to show them. And then, if you follow Shannon Christine Designs on Instagram, Facebook, wherever, she has released 12 freebies this year, which are absolutely darling. She had released one last year with like a tall Starbucks cup and a gingerbread man, and I stitched that one twice. I did it 1/1 on 22 count, and I did it 2/2 on 22 count. So I have a little one and a big one, and they're ridiculously adorable. So I knew when she released more this year, I had to stitch them. So these I did 1/1 on the same fabric that I used for last year's. So there's one of her cups, another of her cups, and this is the third one. And just to give you kind of a scale, here's the needle. Right? So there you go. That's how tiny this is. I may or may not stitch these 2/2 on the same fabric. I do have enough of the fabric. It is, I forget what the fabric is called. It's from Bestitch Me. I don't have the information on it, but it's fantastic. I love the color. It looks so good with Christmas stuff, especially these colors from Shannon Christine. I thought originally I was going to have to change the blue. This is the called for blue. Thought I was going to have to change it. Worked perfectly on this fabric. So highly recommend that you go print those off. She did some, what else did she do? She has a Santa face and some gingerbread houses, and then she had some cupcakes, I think. Adorable. Okay. So Father Christmas, I stitched on. My goal initially was to have him done by the end of the year. And then I was stitching. I'm like, I think I can have him done by Christmas. And then it was the week before Christmas, and I was almost done, except for the back stitch and, going in and filling in all of the missed stitches that you had the first time around. And I didn't want to do that. And I needed daylight for that because the chart was so bad and I needed good light. So at night, the week before Christmas, I needed brainless stitching because we're all a little frazzled the week before Christmas. And so the first ornament that I decided to stitch was from the Jingle Ball. I did go to the Jingle Ball the first week in December. I was not in the mood to talk to anyone. So I spent most of the time watching the entertainment. I think it was Friday night. I was in a stitching room. I was able to get into one, and but then Saturday we had plans. And when I was able to attend the Jingle Ball, I just wanted to stitch and be quiet. And so I mostly did the ballroom. So the preview that I had seen, you know, a lot of the designers had given previews beforehand, and the ornament that I really wanted was from Beth Twist. And lo and behold, when I went in on Friday night to her store, that was her freebie. So I was like, I'm going to get out of here without spending a dime. And then I saw Kathy Haberman and her A Whole Lot of Joy. And I knew I had fabric this color that I had gotten in a color and cotton grab bag. And I had no idea what I was going to do with it because you know me, usually I am stitching on neutrals. She says after she showed this fabric. But normally I stitch on neutrals. So when I saw this ornament, I was like, ooh, I need to buy this so that I can use that fabric that I got in the grab bag. And so I stitched it once and I stitched it twice. I was playing around with the colors of the berries. This one I went darker. This one I went lighter. I don't know. They both look good in person. So these will be gifts. I still have enough fabric to stitch 2 more of these. And let me show you. This is 20 count. I've had these from Michael's for a long while, and they are going to be the perfect size. So I think I'm going to finish it in a circle. I have baker's twine, just like Kathy has here. So I'll sew it to some fabric, finish it in a circle with Helen D's tutorial, and slap it on here. Easy peasy. Now I only have 2 of these, and I don't think Michael's I didn't look this year because by the time I realized it, you know, Michael's already had their Valentine's stuff out. But I mean, it's a circle with it should be pretty easy to find something similar. Or, I mean, worst case scenario, I use this as a template and I cut one out myself. And then I also found at a freebie table, I found some more. This is Be Stitch Me. This is 18 count, so it would be a little bigger. So I put it in the bag in case, you know, I want to stitch 6,000 of these. The thing with ornaments, and I'm going to say it. So I paid, I think it was $13 for my Dutch Beauty chart, which is going to provide me with hours and hours and hours and hours, months, days of stitching entertainment. The cost of ornaments, you can't get ornaments for less than $7 or $8 anymore, the charts. And so my feeling is, if I'm going to buy an ornament chart, I have to stitch it numerous times to get my money's worth. Because I'm a cheap, frugal Yankee, right? So, speaking, am I recording? I don't see I think I am. Usually it tells me how long I've gone for. Oh, there it is, 23 minutes. Okay. I was going to have to start all over. Anyway, from last year's Jingle Ball, which I didn't go to last year, I did order these as soon as they were available because I knew I wanted to stitch them, is Kathy Haberman's Oh Christmas 3. And so I went ahead and stitched these, and I used the called for colors except for the blue. This fabric is not black. It's more like a really dark gray. And so I didn't have the blue that she called for, but I think I had to go lighter in order for it to show up. So I stitched Peace and Joy. These are going to fit perfectly 3-inch hoops. This is also 20 count. right? So bada bing, bada boom, this is going to be really easy to finish. So I will stitch more of these probably next year. I am all done stitching Christmas ornaments. In fact, I'm just all done stitching Christmas right now. I did just a little bit of Christmas stitching this year. So I finished that last one. I think it might have been Christmas night. And like I said, I was done stitching Christmas. And so I decided to reach for At Home, which I started at Stitch New England with my friend Stacy and Amy Gable Stitcher. This is a Brenda Gervais. It will shock nobody who knows me when I tell you that I am moving this to be centered because I'm a big symmetry girl and I need symmetry. Now, when I started it at the retreat, I wanted fill-in. And so I started with the roof. I found the center and basically went from there. Normally, I'm a top left starter. But because I wanted the fill-in at the retreat, I started with the roof. And so my plan is to get this as ready as possible for retreat stitching, because you can see like the house is all just fill in, right? The windows, the door, the grass here, easy retreat stitching. And so what I've been doing since I finished the roof is concentrating on the mortar. And so this right here, this will be, I have 3 more lines to put in, and that will be the end of the mortar there, and then it hits grass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline the grass and get that ready for fill-in. Then I will come back, work on the area around the door, get the door ready for fill-in, finish this right here. So that means hopefully by my first retreat, I can have all of the mortar ready for filling in the bricks. I can fill in the windows with the dark color for the windows. I can fill in the door, and I can work on the grass. And that, I mean, that's right. Who are we kidding? I will never get all of that done at my first retreat, but at least it will be ready. I haven't yet decided, and I will talk about this more in my next video with plans. I haven't decided if I'm going to just stitch on this because I really just want to stitch on this, or I may do what everyone else is doing and start a sampler January 1st and finish it by the 30th or the 31st. How many days are there? Finish it by the end of January. I may do that. I don't know. We will see. All right, so that was my stitching in the month of December. I did good, you guys. I did good because I got no stitching done in the summer, so winter is going to make up for it. One more thing I want to show you before I sign off, and it is this lovely case that I found on Amazon. Because how many of you have this Ottlight? It's fantastic, right? It's got 3 brightnesses. It's rechargeable, so it's cordless. So if you go to a retreat that you can't use plugs, it's fantastic. Tells you the time, tells you the day. It even tells you can't see it. Oh, there you go. It tells you how cold it is in here. The problem with this is if you just throw it in your stitchy bag, all you have to do is like bump this against something and the light goes on, right? See? And so that wastes your charge. So I was determined to find something that I could put it in so that it could go in my stitching bag and I wouldn't have to worry about it turning on. And it turns out it fits almost perfectly in this case. This is called Caseline. Oh, Caseling. Caseling. It does have this thing in here, which I don't need, but this will fit in this part. I've got my charger cord here. When you zip it, which it zips no problem. This part does stick up a little more than this because of the base, but no problem. So I got this off of Amazon. If anyone else is looking for a solution, because you too also have the problem of the turning on of the stitching light, highly recommend it. All right, so that's it for now. I am probably going to clear this mess off and film a second video of all of my 2024 plans. So this I will upload immediately. The other one, probably I will wait a day or two. I don't know, who knows. If you don't watch that, Happy New Year. I will catch you on the other side in 2024. Bye, everybody.